Hello and welcome back to Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video, and this is going to be a fairly short intro, but quickly to go over what happened last time in the last video. We got these trains running. So there are now trains running on all the tracks, all the new lines, and also I made some adjustments here and there with little spurs off where the track becomes a single line, adding some signal boxes and some additional trees, shrubbery and all of that kind of stuff, as well as making I think an adjustment with some of the bridges. But in this video we are going to do some ride-along, so that is pretty much all I need to say. Make sure you stay tuned. Let's get on with the ride-alongs and see how many of the 3 we can actually complete. Okay, so here we are for ride-along number 1, and I do have access to the horn, as you can see, and also with the page up and page down I have access to various different cameras, which is kind of excellent. So we have quite a few views actually. I need to try and get back to the view that I was trying to get to. Oh wow, there are lots of views. There is the view I wanted. I thought this would be probably the best view to have a look at what is around. So we're starting our journey today at Sudbury, and we are going to be heading on this train all the way to Taunton. Of course, at some point we may have a bit of a fast forward when we are waiting on traffic, so we'll have to see about that. But we shall see what comes up. So continuing past one of the fields of wheat. Quite a big field of wheat, and in fact on the right hand side of the map, right towards the top towards the horizon, just now covered by trees, which is what's expected, but there we go, broken through the trees now. You can see a couple more fields of wheat. Continuing along, coming up to the first road, and we can also see one of these Scots pines just sticking out a little. In fact, I think that is sticking out in an incorrect position. Although that being said, once the shrubbery is around it, perhaps that will look better. In fact, these ones still do not have shrubs next to them as we cross over the road. Shrubs, in this case it'd be tall grass. In fact, yes, if you look over to the right hand side now, all of that, so the left hand side does not have the tall grass planted or painted, the right hand side does, and I think it does look a little better as we cross that river that was made in the last video. That took a long time, and as you can see there is so much more to do. There is just way too much to do in one quick episode. But continuing along very nicely, I think one of the other things that I do need to start really doing is putting trees on the hedgerows, and the reason for that is because we do tend to have trees on the hedgerows. This isn't just hedgerows on its own. You'll have the occasional tree, sometimes a very small clump of trees, which obviously changes the shape of the farm just a little, but enough to make a difference. We have a slight uphill section here which then peters out and then goes back downhill very slightly towards Kingsbridge. In fact, you may just be able to see the depot, the engine shed, near Kingsbridge in the distance. And apparently out of nowhere we have an apple tree. Where did you come from? Crossing another road, and now we have what will be the main road in the future, right there, running alongside us. Perhaps I may put a fence or something here in the future to obviously prevent non-existent real people from running over, or non-existent humans from running onto the tracks and doing do an impossible thing because the AI is not designed for that. Going past the signal box, I have added a couple of Great Western Railway brake vans. And we are now coming into the double track section. We have the engine shed, some of the locomotives sitting down on the far end. I think overall this all looks fairly good, although I may look at flattening this somehow and then having a slightly steeper uphill gradient. I forgot that these trains can only do 40 miles per hour. That could be a problem. That could very well be a problem. Going past the I forgot what that's called. St George's Depot, I think, is the name of that one. Another signal box. This signal box, this signal box controls all the signals for this entire area. So we have this crossing. I mean, this is quite a junction, I would say. There's a lot that goes on at this particular junction. We have a clear aspect for our approach into Kingsbridge. So joining the main line. Technically we are on the main line, all of them are not quite main lines. And we have our, which train is this? Now, because all the trains are exactly the same, I'm not entirely sure which train that is. And here, that river does look quite good, just from this angle. What I will do though, is I'm just going to jump off this and make some slight adjustments to the vehicles. I need them all to be, so as we go through each one of these, I need to ensure that this works in the way we want it to. And we shall now continue on our journey. There we go. At this point, we have a red aspect signal, so we will just stop here. And this is kind of interesting, I would say. In fact, I would say this is interesting enough for me to actually see if I can take a screenshot of it before the signal goes green. Just because of the way in which it has come about. There we go. Now the palm trees sort of ruin it, but apart from that, the rest of it is okay. Let's have a look at what the hold-up is. The hold-up is this train here, which is the Taunton Stratford train, which is holding for this one on its way back. So we're going to have to wait for a short period of time. So whilst we are waiting for this to all clear up, and I may need to make some potential adjustments here. For example, maybe turning this into a double track much earlier and then giving it a little bit more. See, for example, if I were to double track it from there, that would give this a chance to already start moving and have a much shorter double track section, or single track section, should I say. But we shall have to see. We shall just have to see how this all pans out. Perhaps if I start putting timetables onto this, it may help. How many passengers is that carrying anyway? 40 on that one, 19 on that one, and 27 on the train that we are going to follow. So hopefully, in fact, this isn't going to work quite the way I want it to, annoyingly. So I'm going to have to figure something out. In fact, there is something I could potentially do. So when that train, what I may do is I may just hold that train in Taunton. Just double check where everyone's parking. Yep, they're coming to different platforms. If I hold this train in Taunton until this train gets there, then release it, then we can take that train back. And we'll take that train all the way to Stratford upon Avon. So far, this hasn't been a very long journey, which is perfectly all right. In fact, this train is actually in Taunton. Will this train start moving? It is going to start moving. I'm just going to hold that train so that we can jump onto it. And then I'm going to hold turn that around. We should have just jumped on this train. Why did I do that? We were going on... That was a silly thing. I've just done a very silly thing. But there we go. It is fine. I just realised that it didn't matter. We were going on the exact same track. So it didn't matter. Are these different whistle noises? That's interesting. There are 3 different whistle noises for this. None of them all very good. But there we go. So now we are continuing. We are going to end up on an embankment, and just going to see where we end up after said embankment. In this area, I would say trees are okay. The line is just on a tiny embankment here. Sorry, viaduct, not embankment. We are on a very small embankment here. You can see the main road. Now you can see the viaduct. I'm just trying to think what could make this area look really quite detailed. Some flowers again, I suppose. Just add a bit of colour to all of this green. Whilst the green is great, sometimes there needs to be a little bit more colour just to show what is what. I think there's a note there that could be lowered ever so slightly. Also, what was that shadow that just passed over? There's another one. Oh, it's trees. It's bad trees. We need to find these bad trees and delete them. I think I see them, so if I remember to delete them, I shall. But anyway, we are now up on a viaduct. Doesn't look too bad, in fact. There we go, looking at that view does not look too bad at all, really. And so I would say that is a decent height viaduct. I could have made it a bit lower, but unfortunately, because of how the hill rises and how the road rises, the fact that this railway has to go over the road, it leads to some issues. That is in English, wherein you will have to have a much steeper descent to lower the viaduct. My brain wanted to say 3 different things at once there. I wanted to say wherein, that leads to, and what was the third thing my brain wanted to say? Which ends up in. So, those were the 3 things I was attempting to say. As we approach another signal box and come into Taunton, that was a fairly short run. In fact, I think a lot of these runs are fairly short, because this is the squish part of the map. Going across the map is not quite as long as you've noticed. Very, very easy to get across the map. And as we approach Taunton, I suppose it is a good time to jump onto this train now. So let's go ahead and do that. We will manage these 2 vehicles and increase their maintenance, and jump straight on board this one on its way out. For this, let's sit a little bit higher up. For this one, let us sit just over the top of the whatever this bell area is, the dome, whatever that dome is. What is that dome? It's clearly something. You've got the chimney, or do they call it the flue? Then you've got the dome. Oh, problems. I just realised something. This train is going to exit and try and stay on this side, isn't it? That is incorrect. You need to go this way, please. You must go back to your side. Yeah, that is not correct. Although, just for the sake of getting this done, I'm going to put a second signal just here. Right, we can now continue on our way. Well, that's down to the wheels. That is not where we want to be. There, we shall sit. I would sit right behind this dome, but maybe just get in the way. There we go. Lovely. And now for the return journey, and then on to Stratford upon Avon. Which again, I'm looking at renaming, potentially. But I shall have to see. Hopefully everybody is having a very good Tuesday. I would say something about the week, but I'm recording this beforehand. And since I'm recording this a few days beforehand, in fact, I'm recording it nearly a week beforehand, I will not be able to tell you anything about the coming week. Perhaps the weather, maybe. I'm British after all. We do talk about the weather an awful lot. We've had some thunderstorms lately, quite severe thunderstorms, but nothing too, I say quite severe thunderstorms and then follow it up with nothing too major. It could be worse, of course. What else is there to mention? Some of the heat has been stifling at times, particularly in my own room, where I'm actually doing my recording, because it just is. See there, that node just in the middle of the screen now, that could do with a little bit of a drop, because here you can see we go up and then we come back down, so I need to perhaps work on that. This is another good thing with ride-alongs. I have mentioned it before, but every time I do a ride-along, I get to see exactly where there are some mistakes or where there are places to make improvements. So sometimes from a bird's eye view, these are things you will not get to see. But when I do a ride-along, I get to see these. You say, okay, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. Unfortunately, because there is so much to do, sometimes when I do a ride-along, I say I need to do this, I miss it, and then I have to go back, and perhaps when I do another ride-along, second ride-along, I will notice it. So there is that, but at this present moment in time, I know that that is one thing that I need to look at and see if I can improve / repair. Repair, fix, adjust. That is probably the correct word. Coming up to a level crossing and across. Whistleboards. That is what I need to put on this. Whistleboards and speedboards. Somebody did ask me, do I have the old speedboards, the ones with the yellow writing, and they're not just a flat board with a round circle with a red border and a speed in it, but just a number, 2 numbers, which just give you the speed of the area. I do not have those. I have been considering spending some time and just making a model for it and just putting it in myself. I do not think it would be too difficult to code such a thing. So I may do that, but it is just a matter of finding the time to actually go ahead and do that. See now on the left hand side where you can see the water, if that was lowered, I think that would look quite good. Pulling into Kingsbridge once again, and this is going to be a very busy train, I would surmise, because this is already really busy. See, that does not look bad. That side anyway, but the river that's on the other side looks much better. I think we went down all the way to 13 passengers there. Not bad at all. Look at that. Great Western Railway. Speed to the west. Oxford. That is a really nice billboard. Oh, more. Wales. Penzance and... I cannot read the other one. Oh well. All the places Great Western Railway used to go. Essentially the entire west side of the United Kingdom. Everything from Paddington west would have been Great Western Railway. So all the way going through Reading, then up Didcot, Oxford, going up towards Birmingham, I believe, at one point in time. At this point, we are going to be pulling off to the left-hand side. At these points, there we go. So we came from the right-hand side. We are now going off to the left-hand side. Yes, going up Didcot, Oxford, Bicester, going up, I think, towards Birmingham at one point, all the way into Wales, taking, well, it still goes into Wales, goes all the way past Swansea, I think. But other parts of Wales as well, and then all the way into the West Country. As it says, it still goes down all the way to Penzance, into Dorset, and then Cornwall, Devon and Cornwall, all the way down. I'm not sure if it goes all the way to right down to, is Penzance right on the end, or is there one other slightly further at the end of the line? Because Penzance is pretty much as far as it goes, because I think that may be the last. I think that is the end of the line, because Penzance is pretty much as far as you're going to get to the onto the coast. Then I think you're very close to like Land's End. So yes, there is that. So, and I think there used to be lines that used to run between Bideford and that area, Barnstaple. Exeter obviously it still runs to, then you've got Plymouth and Falmouth and Truro and all of that area, but there used to be, I think, a lot more that used to run. I'm not sure if Great Western still run past Swansea, and if they run all the way over towards the Fishguard Way or anything like that. And also they used to run, I think, through they used to run through Wales, going towards, like, well, I say through Wales, I guess it isn't. Would it be quite into Wales? I think Hereford is like on the Welsh border, and perhaps, I'm not sure how far they ran into in Wales, but certainly they ran that Shropshire area, the Worcestershire area, all of that. So I'm not sure if they still run that side. So essentially, as I said, everything west of pretty much everything west of Paddington. But mainly on the south side and the bottom side of the Midlands. They never ran up, for example, towards Manchester and Liverpool or anything like that, as far as I'm aware. So yes, the Great Western is a big railway company. It, of course, still exists to this day. It has gone through many changes. It became part of British Rail, of course, when everything was merged. So we had, I may get this wrong. So we had LMS, which is London Midland Scotland Railway, GWR, Great Western Railway, LNER, London North Eastern Railway, and who else would it have been? There would have been one other that would have been the four that were essentially merged. Those would have all been merged to become to become British Railways. But I'm not sure which ones there were. So you've got LMS, LNER, GWR, Southern Railway would have been the other one. So that just popped into the buffers. No, that's not popped into the buffers. Right, now to wait for the last train to arrive. So this train's going to arrive and we are going to jump on board. So yes, so we have the four trains, or four trains, 4 companies which merged to become British Railways. And then after that, when British Railways then was privatised and broken up again, we had all sorts of other railways that came along, so, or other railway companies. So I think first bought out the Great Western Side. We had Midland Main Line, bought out some of the what would have been LMS's routes. We had who else? So it was Cross Country. Virgin had some. They tried their hand at train lines or running a rail operation. You had. I'm just trying to think all the different companies that would have been around. Obviously, you had Southern Railway, you had Southeastern Railway, Southwestern Railway. Scotland, I think they had some railways, their own railways there. I'm not 100% certain as to how many there were, but there was certainly a lot. And then they've gone through a number of changes. So first, you had it as first Great Western, and then it is now, as we jump on the last train for today's run, then they brought back the GWR name, so it is now again Great Western Railway, which is excellent. And they've got a very similar logo to the original logo with the GWR with the large W, so that works really well too. LNER is back. They have been back after, who was the company that owned them before? I think that must have been Virgin. There was someone actually after Virgin Railways that had that side. They did such a bad job that the government took over that again and then reinstated LNER. So we have LNER back. Midland Main Line and all of that fell away. So now that is now East Midlands Railway is part of it. So it's just EMR. So you've got East Midlands Railway, and then across the areas that used to go across Manchester, Liverpool, that side across the mountains, that's now called the Transpennine. West Coast, we have West Coast Main Line. That's run by Avanti now. Cross Country still exists, so they still run some. You've got ScotsRail. So yeah, there were loads of these railway lines. Personally, I think that if done correctly, you could renationalise the whole lot. Just bring back British Rail. You never know, they may do a better job than what the railways are doing here right now. But what I would do is I would bring back British Rail. Everything is under British Rail. So Network Rail manages all the infrastructure, and then you've got, under British Rail, you've got the subsidiary companies, and those, all of those are still called their heritage names. So LNER, LMS, GWR, Southern, and then whatever other ones need to be added. And I would actually expand certain bits and bobs to bring back some of the old routes and the old style. And honestly, I think that in Britain we need that. We need to bring back the railways railways are for the most part in a pitiful condition. The trains are rubbish, the lines are rubbish, the prices are utterly extortionate. So yes, I think there needs to be a massive intervention on the railways in the UK. So there we go. Take it all back under government control. That being said, I'm not sure which government, when and how they would manage this, and whether they would even be successful at managing it. But yes, we had quite an interesting setup. This embankment is actually quite nice. I actually think this embankment is rather nice. It isn't too high. It isn't too low. This is, as Goldilocks says, this is just right. Just right. Lovely. Yes, in Britain we had a lot of nationalised stuff at one point, nationalised utilities. Anything that you hear with a British starting on it generally would have been nationalised at some point. So British Airways, that would have been government owned. British Rail, British Telecom, that's BT, British Gas, British Petroleum, so BP, petrol stations, British Gas, so still British Gas. All of these, apart from British Railways, they all still have their names, but obviously none of them are government controlled. Now I think there are maybe some government shares in them, but none of them are government controlled. There's probably a bunch of other ones as well that I'm missing. But I wouldn't know. I'm just trying to think of. I'm just trying to think which ones would have been under British. British Aerospace. There's another one. So that would have been. I'm not sure if that is still under. I'm not sure that is actually still under the government. I think it is a private. Well, I say private company, a privatised company now. So it's BAE Systems. That's British Aerospace. Well, it used to be British Aerospace. I think there was a number of other things. So I think British Aircraft Corporation. That might have been. I'm not sure if that was a one that became. No, that may not have become one. BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. There's another one. Should we stay on board this train? Let's just follow the train along whilst I end this video. We've got a little bit of time. And now I'm a bit curious. I'm just trying to think of anything that starts with B or British. Really, so it's BBC. I'm still not sure about British Aerospace, whether that was a government nationalised company, but yeah. Then we've got because I know British Aerospace was, but I think that did become BAE Systems. I'm fairly sure that became BAE Systems when it merged with a whole bunch of other things, so BAC being one of them, which may have been. Yeah, so again, British Airways, I think it was a mix of a number of other companies. I think BOAC was one of them, BEA was another one, and then there were a couple of others that came in. There were some metal ones, I think. British Coal, that would have been a national one. So that would have been. I'm not sure that exists anymore. As I said, British Gas, British Energy. British Energy was another one. I'm not sure if that was a nationalised one or if they just call it British Energy. I would say British Leyland, but really British Leyland was not. Leyland was. I would say it was bad, but it probably wasn't as bad. British Steel, that would have been. Although, what was it called before that? Yes, it would have, British Steel would have been a nationalised one. So there's another one, and I have no idea how many others. There are probably a whole bunch of other ones. As I said, BT, British Gas, British Rail, British. So yeah. Anyway, that was an aside, just as a filler to talk about a few things. Before I end this video, there's the bump. You can now see it just there. I'm going to fix it. So find it and lower it. Oh, that's a little bit too much, but I will then fix it by clicking there to there. Not parallel. Ramp equalize, please. Job done. There we go. That has actually panned out perfectly. And with that, I think it's certainly time to end this video. So thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. Yes, I am taking random pictures whilst I say this. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. A link to that is in the description box below. And also you can find me on social media at ECGadget LP for both Instagram and Twitter. Lastly, do go check out my Discord server. Link to that is also in the description box below. That is all from me, and I shall see you next time in Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series, where I think I may add some detailing here and may make an adjustment here to the line. But after that, I think it's time to work on some freight, and in particular, I think it's time to introduce British coal. So there we go, something we were talking about. Let's introduce British coal. I'll see you next time for that.